Hi everyone, Gina here. Sorry I had to go to a part two of homemade gnocchi. I hit the wrong button, of course. Once I get a better setup, it'll be easier. I apologize, but I'm gonna have to do a part two of the gnocchi. So the first part, if you'd like to go back, if you're starting here, it's going to be homemade gnocchi part one, and that's where we make the dough the ingredients required and put it all together, and then get to this step where we're actually going to cut the gnocchi. So right now, I'm going to show you best I can. Like I said, I'm working on my new setup, but bear with me. Thank you for coming back, or thank you for joining me. So homemade potato gnocchi. So here we have the dough, which I have like just turned into a log to be easier to cut. Okay. So this is our beautiful dough we made right here. You get a lot. So I started cutting some up. So I want to show you how it's done. So you cut a piece because you're going to roll it. I usually have some extra flour down so it doesn't stick to the countertop. And you just start to roll. Okay. I work from the inside out so it stays a certain thickness. And you just keep rolling until you get the thickness you're looking for. Okay, which is pretty much, I don't know, I never really measured it, but I'm going to say maybe 1/4 of an inch. And then you take your little tool, knife, whatever you have, and you start cutting pieces off. Now, I don't know what's easier if I start from here, but you just cut, and you get into a rhythm where you're cutting the same size. So basically, they're like that, little puffs. And you just get a rhythm going. It doesn't, if they come out different sizes, it's okay. If it's way too big, cut it in half or just throw it back with the dough. But just go along the whole snake and cut it into pieces. Now, some people like these just like this with no lines on them. Okay, little puffs. Okay. I was taught, and this is how we grew up, is you put these little ridges in it because, you can see that, little ridges. Because to me, that holds the whatever sauce you're putting on it. It just sticks to the pasta better. But I left a few. I started this because I didn't want to take up too much of your time. But I made some just puffs here, and I made some with ridges. So I want to show you about the ridges. This is an gnocchi tool. You see all these ridges? That's how you get the ridges. So you hold it like so. You take that little piece of pasta you just cut, pressure, and roll right off the thing. Put it on, pressure, roll right off. And as it comes off, well, these little ridges from the wood. Okay, I have cornmeal put down because you don't want them sticking together. You want them to air dry just a little bit. But in the meantime, what I do is I stand right in front of this parchment paper with the cornmeal, and I stand here and I just roll and drop, roll and drop, roll and drop, roll and drop. And then if I think it needs more, I have a bowl of cornmeal here. I just throw some cornmeal, and you don't have to worry about when you're cooking the pasta. The cornmeal will float to the bottom, and the pasta will not have any remnants of cornmeal. Okay, so I have a pot of water boiling because I wanted to actually cook them with you. So I have salted water. Let me show you first what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a handful of the non-rolled, this is rolled, they call them cloud puffs when you don't put any grooves in them. So I'm going to cook a few of those so you can see what they look like. And then I'm going to cook some with the grooves. Okay, with the ridges, grooves, whatever they are. Whatever you'd like to call them. So again, potato gnocchi. If you don't have, so I will show you this. If you don't have, and you do want the ridges and you do not have one of these, fork, okay? You just put a little bit of flour on the fork. You hold the fork, same concept. You hold the pasta, roll, and you get your ridges from the fork. So again, with the fork, I usually hold it down right in front because you can put more pressure and you get it to roll and you get ridges. So you can, if you don't have the tool, you don't have to run out and buy the tool. My cousin bought it for me. We happened to be at one of my favorite stores in Mystic Village, and that's where, not far, well, it's kind of far from where I live. So we go for the day, and there's a store there that sells all kinds of kitchen gadgets, and I love it. It's my favorite. So I'm going to turn this camera over, bear with me, to the boiling water. Sorry about that. Okay, so we have the boiling water right here. I am going to put them in. I've salted it already. Okay, I'm going to throw all of these in. I'm going to give them a little stir. Okay, and when they float to the top, they're done. In the meantime, in this pan, I'm going to make a little sauce. I don't have any gravy made or tomato sauce, whatever how you ever refer to it. I am just going to make a little sauce so I can show you. I get a little pan. I put a little bit of olive oil in, a little bit more of olive oil. I'm going to let that get hot. I'm just going to stir these around a little bit. You know, whenever you put something in boiling water, it stops boiling. You need it to boil again. These are done when they're done when they all float to the top. They are done rather quickly. I mean, it's not like you're boiling the dry pasta for 8 minutes. This you're putting in, it comes to a boil. They start floating to the top. You'll see them start floating to the top. But in the meantime, I am going to saute some garlic in this olive oil. Okay, gonna let that saute a little bit. I love garlic. Anytime garlic sautés in olive oil, it's just an amazing smell. Now you see how these are all coming to the top? Look at that. There's still a few waiting. So in the meantime, as we do this with the garlic, I am going to add sprigs of, if you can see here, I have fresh dill. So I'm going to add fresh dill. I hope you can hear that sound. And the aroma from the garlic and the fresh dill, I lower the heat a little bit. Okay. And then I add in butter. Okay. Now these are done. I'm going to turn them off. Saute this. I'm going to add a little salt. I'm going to get my strainer. Let that butter melt. Oh my God, it smells so good in here. So this is just a little olive oil. It's garlic, some fresh dill, just something quick so I can show you guys how beautiful they come out, okay? And then a little butter. I take the strainer, I pull these out. Look how gorgeous. Look how gorgeous. Now you can see the difference between, these are the puffs without the ridges. They look the same. And then these are with the ridges. You can see that. So, I mean, basically they look like a different shape. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw them right in here into the little sauce that I've made. like so. Gonna stir them up. And actually turned off the heat. It smells freaking amazing in here. The dill and the garlic is just amazing. Okay. So they just have to simmer in there just to get the flavor, just for a minute or so. It doesn't take long. Sometimes people brown butter them, which is also really nice. So you pull them out, dill and all, and the garlic. Look how beautiful. Here's my fork. Here it is. Okay. So this is what I have. Here I am. This is what I have here. Here's the end product. Okay. A little crooked. So here's the end product of what I've done. You have your pieces of dill. You can cut them smaller. Sometimes I just put them in for the flavor. I do take a few strands and add it to the piece of the pasta. So again, look at this. Look how gorgeous. This is one with ridges. Wow. So hot. So light and airy. People call them puffs. And that's why some people don't do the ridges like this one. There's no ridges. So it's just how you cut it, and you throw it in the cornmeal to let it air dry a little bit, and then you cook it. But they, to me, you look at this plate, they really do all look the same. You know, you'll see some that look like they have ridges and don't. This one doesn't have ridges either. Okay. So I'm going to take a nice piece of the dill. No ridges on that, but it looks like a puff. But they cook the same. They taste the same, really. It's just a matter of grabbing whatever sauce you put on them. It's my opinion. Take it or leave it. But this is potato gnocchi, sauteed, garlic, olive oil, dill, and butter. This is, I'm taking two at a time. This is the bite. Thank you for watching. I'm sorry there had to be two videos, but I think it's well worth it watching both. Thank you for your time. Again, whether you tried this recipe or not, it is work. But if you ever wanted to attempt it, but also if you go to the store and you buy fresh gnocchi, you could, this is also a kind of sauce that you can do with it. You can do anything with them. You know, I'm going to try and make pesto gnocchi, which is just replacing the potato with pesto or spinach, or so there's different ways you could do it. I just did the basic one that my family would make when we were younger, or even in our adult age. And we usually have it with gravy, meatballs gravy. I want to try something light and different. I love dill. I happen to have fresh dill. Who doesn't love garlic and olive oil? Throw in some butter. You got yourself a beautiful plate here. Bon appetit. Thank you for watching, and I hope you come again. Bye.